afternoon. I see a few people are on, so please let me know who's here. And I really would like to know if there's anyone that's creating with me today, just so that I can pace myself better. So if you're planning on cutting and creating with me, please let me know. And we are using the gorgeous Simple Stories Simple Vintage Fresh Snow. And I do have the 3 packages. One's the ephemera, one's the bits and pieces, and the other one is the sentiment bits. And I did post already which parts out of each package that I'm using for each page. Hi Shelly, hi Irene, you're just watching for now. I'm just gonna give it a few minutes. Usually I start right on time because I'm always mindful of your time. But I just want to make sure anybody who's joining us is not creating with us. I know people tend to create at their own pace later. They generally watch. But if you are creating with me, please let me know. The reason why I ask is that I have pre-cut my pieces, and I will give you the measurements for sure. And if you are creating with me, then I prefer to wait for who's ever cutting before blazing ahead. Hi Linda, watching but will create later and save video. Awesome. So you do know, or maybe you don't know, but next weekend we're having a card class, and we're going to be using everything that we have left over from this paper. So I did put in the description the recommendations for what you purchase, and it's really 1 sheet of all the pattern paper and then 2 sheets each of the solids. You're just watching but we'll create later. Great. So I'm going to get going, and I'll say it a few more times in case other people are joining that's going to be cutting with us. But I'm just going to take it from you folks that you're going to cut later on. So that's terrific. It's a beautiful paper line. So this page, when I seen it, I knew that we just had to pile some stuff on top of it because it's already started. Just the paper itself, it's gorgeous and I love it. So we are just going to create right on this page, and I did already cut off of my strips, but this is this side and the back side is the one with the trees. And I'm going to tell you what I use for bits, but you will have to refer to the posts just to see which part they come out of. I don't know if I wrote them down or not. I'll have a look because I do have some little notes with me that I'm just going to bring up here. I'm just going to put my phone to the side so I can reference it. And I'm going to take out all my bits that I've cut already. I didn't ink anything because I was saving that for here in case someone was creating with me. Then I'll ink. And I may not ink everything, but I am going to ink some bits. So we do have, like I said, just refer to the post. This one's going to be Snow Days. This is going to be the title of this one. And it's actually Magic of Winter I have in there. And the little birdhouse. And then all this ephemera. Hi, Heather. And also in the description, if you can purchase each of the packages, that would be terrific. If for some reason the packages are sold out and there's only a couple packages or even one package, you can certainly make do. But if they are there, then I suggest that you purchase one of each, because we are going to be using parts for our cards as well. And I did pull a lot of ephemera because we have a lot. So I know I love this paper too, Irene. I have to see what else. This I just had as my photo mat, but I do have a photo. I had to go and ask my nieces and nephews who have children to please send me some photos, because that's one of the things when your children grow up, you don't have as many photos. So I do have some little cheat notes here that I'm going to post in front of me as we go. It's actually called Cabin Fever, this paper, and First Snow, I think is what it is. So we have this paper, and it is part of the 3x4 elements, and we are going to cut a piece that is 5 by 7.5. So 5 by 7.5. And it doesn't really matter, I don't think, in which direction you cut, but you might want to flip it over just in case there's words or parts of the element sheet that you might want to save. You can certainly do that, but for this one, I am focusing on this part. So this is going to go down as my base. And because this page itself is so awesome on its own, it's going to come together mighty fast. And we're going to add lots of dimensions. So I am putting some ink on this page, and I just pulled walnut stain. Yeah, it is beautiful, beautiful paper. It very much reminds me of Bo Bunny. This pattern. For anybody who's been around in the Bo Bunny days. And I do like it. And you can do some like flips as well. And you can also do a slight flag. Maybe you want to do that. I'm going to grab my scissors. They're just behind me. And this is a great little trick to create a flag. So if you take your paper and just lightly fold it, and this gives you even on both sides, and you lightly fold it over, you just have to make sure that you're cutting in the right direction. So if I was to cut it this way, I have a point. I want to flip my paper over, and I want to cut it. I have to make sure I'm doing this right. If I cut it, this is the way I want to cut it. I don't want to cut it up, I want to cut it down, so I get a flag. And if you happen to do it the wrong way, no big deal. Just do it again in the opposite direction. And that way you get an even flag banner, so that you don't have to worry about it being equal. And we're going to paste this down, so I'm not too worried about the little flip. Yeah, it does look like Bo Bunny. Now, because all these dimensional pieces in the back are flat, I'm actually going to pop this one up. And here's a little trick. I don't know if it really saves you by doing this or not, but I have some chipboard scraps here. And because I just want a little bit of dimension, I'm going to stick the chipboard down, and then that's going to be my dimension on this piece instead of using my foam tape. Now, chipboard, if you're going to use chipboard, then you have to put down some really good tape, which is my double-sided. So that's why I say I'm not sure if you really save anything in the long run, because I'm replacing foam tape, but I am using some of the more expensive double-sided tape. It's kind of, you pick your poison as to what you would like. I'm happy that you're here today, Heather. I don't often get to see you on on these lives because you're always so busy. The store looks fantastic. I love it when you do your live at 5, because then I get to see, especially when you walk around, brings back some happy memories of my few days there. I was looking at some comments about the Tim Holtz inks and how you have them all alphabetized. Remember our conversation with Dan and how it was driving me crazy that day that I was doing that? Did he ever give in and get you the proper ink racks? I got on his case a little bit saying, you got to get the proper stuff for this ink. So we are going to cover up a little bit of the pattern down here, but that's okay because we're gonna actually put lots of more ephemera, and I'm just going to put it on a bit of an angle. Oh, pardon me. I took a snapshot of some of these pages, but I wasn't smart enough to do one with the ephemera laying down, but I want to make sure that I have it up. So this piece here is the Midnight Mountain, I think. Oh, just hang on a minute. No, that it is not the Midnight Mountain. This one is the Midnight Mountain. And what I want to do is you're going to cut a 4x4, but we're also, no ink racks yet. Yeah, the store is really coming together. So you're going to do a 4x4 of the Midnight Mountain, and we're going to make a frame. So we're actually going to cut the inside out so that we actually make a frame. So I'm going to get my trimmer. Now, if you've never done this before, it's pretty easy. You just have to decide the width of your frame all the way around, and I'm just going to do a 1/2 inch, and then you take your cutter, your blade, and I'm going to find the 1/2 inch mark on this side, and I'm going to go in to a 1/2 inch on this side, and we're going to do this on all 4 sides. So a 1/2 inch. And depending on what kind of cutter you have will depend on how you find your 1/2 inch. So I'm not going to try to explain that to you, but we're going to make our own frame. And you can do this for cards, you can do it for layouts. It's just a nice way to get even more out of your paper. Plus it gives you some options to do some extra details with your paper. So then when it comes out, you have this frame, and we have this piece of scrap that we're not going to use in this one, I don't think, but I'll keep it to the side just in case. I had to stand up in order for me to see over on top my measurements. So this is going to be placed kind of here. This line flew off the shelf. You don't have much left of the embellishments, but we do have the paper. Yeah, like I said, the paper itself has lots of embellishments on it that you can fussy cut, and you don't have to do the cards. Like you kind of pick your poison. Which one do you like more, the cards or the layouts, and then you can base it on that. But there's lots of options for embellishments, and don't be afraid to combine lines. So if you're out of the embellishments for this line, look through your stash and see what else you have that has like brown tones. Like 49 Market, they had lots. They had their brown elements. There's loads of different elements that you can find that will complement this line. So we have this piece here, and it is called Frosted Memories. Actually, it says that on the back, and it is the part of the sheet that's the 4x6s. So you want to cut this one out, but we're not using this side, we're actually using the snowflake side. And it's going to go under our frame. Now I'm just kind of layer this up a little bit, and then I will take it apart and glue it down. And then we have a little piece here. It is called Frosted Memories, and it is 3x5. And that's going to go here, and we are going to pop things up. So no worries there. And then we have this little piece here. This is 2x5, and it is from the solid sheet. So it's the brown on one side and kind of minty on the other. We want it for brown, and you're going to use a border punch. So just take a border punch out of your stash, and we're going to tuck this one in behind the snowflake. So it's going to come together as such. And then we're going to lay down all our embellishments. So what I want to do is get a border punch, and I'm just going to throw my hand in my bin and find one. This is as good as any. And we all have border punches in our stash. I'm just using this one. And it's the brown piece. So I'm just going to move my page out of the way for a minute. And I try to make it as even as I can on both sides, and that way your ends kind of come out right. But I don't get super intense about that. What are you guys up to these days? Weather-wise, today it is like pouring rain, and it's in the pluses here. We were, at the first of the week, we were supposed to get snow, and quite a bit of it. And then today arrived, and it is raining. Now, if anybody has this border punch, these little bits are fantastic as little elements to put, especially on cards and things. Now, I'm not going to save these, but often I'll incorporate them, and you never know, I might stick them somewhere here. I'm going to take this back and decide which ones I want to ink up. I don't really need to ink up that one because it's you're not really going to see it anyway. But I am going to ink up this one for the border, and we're only going to see a very tiny piece of it because it's kind of stuck out from behind the rest. And I probably didn't have to make it as wide, but that's kind of what I do. I cut pieces off, and then I decide where I'm going to tuck them. You're trying to organize your craft room. I love organizing, Irene. It's kind of one of my favorite things to do. So I don't feel sorry for you. It's kind of the thing I do too if I lost my mojo and I just can't seem to get it back, and I'm in a creative funk. I'm just putting some there just to get off the white edges, but you're really not going to see it because the paper's too dark. So when I organize, it seems like it always puts me in a better spot because I find all kinds of things that I forgot I had. So I'm going to put this one down because I don't want to take away the banner. And this piece is popped up already, so it's kind of, it's not flat. And then we're going to put this piece down. And I'm not going to pop up too much more of this because I really want to pop up my elements. So like as long as I have one piece popped up where I can tuck, you'll see what I mean, then I'm happy with that. Then we have this piece here. Now this one I might pop up a little bit. I am just going to get rid of the white border. Even though you can't see the ink, the core of the paper is white. So if you don't ink it, that's alright, but just know that you're going to see the white edges. It's not your favorite thing to do. I tell you what's not my favorite thing to do is purging. I have a very hard time, but I have a very tiny space, so if I want to keep purchasing new stuff, then I have to purge, and I always have a hard time with that. Now you could go ahead and use another piece of chipboard here. I have one little piece, but I don't have enough right in front of me. So I'm just going to take some strips of foam. I love the roll of foam. Yeah, so purging is tough for me. Number one, the stuff isn't old or there's nothing wrong with it. It's just, again, I need to make room. So I'm going to bring this one and tack it down so that we still see the banner. We still see this one. And then we can put our frame. Now, the frame, I'm going to use it for my photo. And this is when I put them in the post. You can include whatever photo size you want on these pages. If I had a 4x6 photo, I would just make the frame maybe be an accent behind the photo, and I'd put my photo this way. But I believe the photo I have, I'm going to be able to trim it down. I got some great pictures, and look at these little cuties. It's my nephew's twin girls. I don't know if you can see them right clear, but they had bright pink suits on, and it didn't really go with the layout, so I did it in black and white, and I really like that. So I'm going to trim this down. I'm just going to put a little nick, the top and the bottom where I want to trim it. And then I'm going to take my little trimmer. I have all the trimmer sizes because I just find them handy. And there. Right there. I don't think I had to do any. Nope. Yeah, it is very cute. They are cutie patooties. So now I'm going to, again, because there's like a little bit of a white border, I'm just going to ink that white border off. Yeah, black and white pictures on this line are stunning. I think this is the only black and white one that I did though. The other ones, there's some pops of color, but I think it will be alright. I did print them though, both in black and white and color, just in case. So yeah, these little cuties will be 2 in August, I do believe. I think. Or was it October? I can't remember now. But they are adorable. There. And I'm going to pop this one up. So popped up so far was my banner. This one was flat, this one was flat. I popped up this one, and then this one I'm going to pop up, and you're going to see why, because I do want different levels of dimension so that when I tuck all our beautiful elements behind. And I'm only going to use foam because this is going in an album. So I am only going to use foam here. Actually, I'm going to do foam over here too. Because if I don't, then when it gets stored in the album, it may buckle some. And I think I actually have to do 2 here to make up the dimensions that we added over on the other side. So this page does come together quite quickly. There. So that's what we have so far. And now for all of our element pieces. This is the fun part. And I don't have any preconceived idea where I'm going to put them. I just remember the day I was picking them out, I just kept saying, yeah, that will look good there, that will look good there. But I didn't take a picture of that. But that's okay, because we're going to wing it. I'm going to put all my elements over here so that you can see them. I love this little birdhouse. I have a banner here, documented, this one, Magic of Winter, and then Snow Days, and then our birdhouse. So these ones are all going to get a little bit of inked. And my title's going to go down first just because it's the largest, and then I'll build around it. But I'm going to do a lot of building down here in this corner as well. I like when I build layers, embellishment layers, I usually like to do opposite corners. So Snow Days is going to go up here, and because the snow is so large of a word, I'm going to lay it flat, but I'm going to pop up days and kind of position it over the top. I'm not going to go right crazy with my inky edges, just a little bit, because the paper does look distressed on its own. So I'm just kind of dirtying it up a little bit. So this one will go down flat. And of course you can look through your stash and you can pull out pearls and sequins and all kinds of sparkly goodness. And then this one will be popped up days. Three over the top, just like that. So Snow Days. And my largest focal point down in this corner is going to be this bird house. I love bird houses. My husband had built me four of them from old barn boards and then old hardware. You've probably seen them if you followed me for any time. You would have seen them either in photos or on my personal page. And this one, I'm just looking at it, and my foam has to go down here in this corner because it's already popped up there. So I'm going to put some foam tape, making sure it's correct. I think I have to do 2 layers of that, and you can use your squares here too if you want. I just have my roll out, and then we're also going to use some liquid glue because it's foam on the bottom, but it can be liquid glue on the top. There we go. And then this one I'm doing a little bit of layering on it as well. I love these big pieces of ephemera that they put in there that's pre-layered again, just like this page. But I'm going to put on top of this one Snow Days Magic of Winter, and I'm just going to take my little stapler and do that. You can do a brad, you can do a staple, whatever you have. You can just use adhesive, but I do like the look of the tiny attacher. And I'm actually going to, where do I want to position this the best? Oh, I like it there. So we can just tack it right down there. So like I want to keep seeing, I don't know where I want it best. I think over here, where I'd originally thought. So Magic of Winter. And then we have this piece here, which is just a nice ephemera tag. How you doing? Who else is out there with us? And I'm going to put this one over on this side. And I'm going to put it on an angle just because I want to see more of that element there. And for these ones, there was actually berries showing over here, so I thought the berries would look nice coming up from behind the birdhouse. And I do want to get some little dimensional circles or whatnot to pop these up. I do a lot of popping up for dimensions, for embellishments, unless like the whole frame piece is already popped up, then you don't have to. But when I've done some dimensional building in the center and I'm doing embellishing around that, then I usually do a variety of pop-ups and flats. Who else is watching with us today? We have Linda, Irene, Heather, Shelley. And if anybody is creating and you need me to slow down, let me know. I know most of you tend to watch and then do your pages later, which is great. But let me know how you found it, like if you like the end product, because I always like to know. And please, you're not going to hurt my feelings if you tell me that, you know, you like things this way or that way. We all have our own preferences. And if I'm going to do these classes or offer you these ways, it's nice feedback. Hi, Deborah. It's nice feedback for me to understand where you're at in your creative world. We're on the same wavelength. So I'm just going to tack that one down. And we have another little one. We actually have two. I'm going to put a little ink. You don't need much. Deborah, are you planning on doing these layouts? I'm going to put a little bit of adhesive. I have the hardest time picking off the backs of this tiny adhesive. And I use around the edges too. I don't throw that away. I don't throw any of it away. You know, the frame part of your adhesive panel around here, I use that too. If it's sticky, I use it. But I have the hardest time getting these little tiny ones off. There's like a little bud. And this little one, I'm going to go to the opposite corner and put a little piece up here. Just so that we have some common. And you know me, I like in threes. So like there's 3 little buds. I call them buds. So I like 3s. We have some snowflakes, and why not pop them up? Because we can. This page is almost done. And you could go on forever and ever with the different ephemera, because it's so beautiful. If you have die cuts, if the ephemera packs sold out, and the easiest way to find it if you don't have it is if you go to the online store and just search by my name, Sherry. What's left will come up. Dan's been very good to list the products that I'm using in my classes for the month. There, the calendar stuff might still be showing, because as you know, that's going to be a monthly class. So we already did January. So if you haven't gotten in on that, that's going to be fun. And that's going to be like for all year. So we're going to do a full calendar, and it's single page 12 by 12 layout. So I'm going to put 2 snowflakes up here. Maybe one over here by the snow day. I love these little flag banners that says documented. There's a few in this kit. And it says different words. I love those. So I am going to put a few pop dots on that one. And I'm going to put it right over here by the picture. Oh, they're so cute. And then we have this little flag banner. So I'm actually going to cut it in 2, so that I'm making 2. I'm going to ink them up. And I'm going to take my tiny attacher again. I love this thing. It's a Tim Holtz product. I've had it for years and I use it often. And where am I going to put these banners? This is when you can kind of fiddle around and decide where you like them best. Maybe over here. I'm just going to take a little piece of foam tape. Maybe I'm not going to go over there. Well, maybe I will. Can't make up my mind. Yeah, that's nice. It brings a little bit more of that element. And all I have left are 2 pine cones. And I know I said I usually work in 3, but there's some pine cones on this paper. So there's one there, and another half one. So I feel like I'll have enough. And I'm going to tuck those in down here. Do you guys, now the ones that are watching, do you like, if you could choose which activity you like more, scrapbooking or card making, what would you tell me? I'm going to put this other one down here like that. And then we have a little heart. And that little heart, where can I put my little heart? Maybe just right up there. I'm going to put a little bit of liquid glue. And that is our page 1 done. And I love it. I hope you do too. So lots of dimensions, lots of layers. If you're a stitcher, you could certainly get your sewing machine out and do all kinds of stitches on here. Deborah, you do scrapbooking only? Well, I'm glad then we're doing these for you. I enjoy scrapbooking. I really do. That's page 1. This was actually our bonus page. Nice. You like that, Linda? I can't wait until you guys do it for yourself. And if you want to layer more pictures on, like if you're someone who really wants lots of pictures on your page, then just take out some of these elements and tuck in an extra picture. Or you could put one up here. Like you can make it work however you like. I'm a paper lover, so I am okay to have one picture. And these little girls are so sweet. Okay, so we're going to tuck that away. And now we're going to do our, I call it a double page, just because it's kind of like the same, well, all the paper matches, but you could actually keep these as separate as well. So you could have like 3 single pages if you wanted. This one I did take a picture of it just because I was fiddling with the little blocks. So for this one here, I'm going to get rid of my cheat notes for this one and pull out envelope number 2. And if you do pull out, like lay out all your ephemera first, if you have all the packages, and look at the posts that I did telling you which package it comes out of and put them aside, it is better that way, I find. So we have a little heart, we have this one. I'm going to have to do a big clean when I'm done because all my scraps. We have a bunch of stars, there's a whole bunch of snowflakes. This one is extra, I believe, but I'm not sure. I'm just going to put that up here. There's another one of those little scrapbooking Judy. Aw, thank you so much. Yeah, my layout process is, it's very organic. So like I probably would scare you if you could see me doing it from start to finish. That's why I don't do it live, because I really just chop up my paper and then layer it. So I'd probably give Happy as a stroke, but cute. And then here's my little scribble notes. I'm going to put that up there for me. And then we have this paper, and I'll have to look. I'll go through my notes and see if, I think we cut it out of a sheet. And this was supposed to take place in my photo, but I have a photo. I did cut some of these just in case I didn't have a photo, because I wasn't confident I was going to get photos, because I knew I didn't have any, but my nieces and nephews came through. So you're going to use one of your full sheets of the green. This is the solids, and it's that minty green on the other side. And then we have this sheet, and I'm just looking. Page 1, cut the 12 2x2s. Okay. This one is Chasing Snowflakes, and it is 9 by 11. And I'm not using the snowflake side. It's very pretty. But you'll see in a minute why I'm going to use this dotted side. I just needed something more solid in the background for all the little 2x2 squares that we're going to put on. And this layout is a great way to get little bits and pieces of all the papers in on your page. But one of the 12x12 sheets actually had a great way of cutting those elements apart. And I'm not popping this up. I'm laying this down flat. And I'm just going to keep it a little bit away from the edges. And I'm just eyeballing it for approximately the right same width from top to bottom. It's about a ½ inch. So then we have this. So the next thing that we did, or I did, is I cut a bunch of 2x2 squares. And these little white ones are 1.5 by 1.5. Again, I cut them in case I didn't have the photos, but I do have the photos. And you might think, how in the heck can you get a 1.5 and 1.5 photo? But if you have photos, like if you have photos that are taken from a distance, like way back, I'm going to easily be able to cut 1.5 out of these photos of this little dude. And this is his sister. She's so cute. So this is my niece, and she has a little boy and just had a baby girl. So this is more of a close-up, but I'm just going to go in and cut her face. So 1.5 by 1.5. So that's how you kind of get tiny photos. And there is a page of 2x2 and 4x4 elements. It's an element sheet. And you're going to cut all the 2x2s from that sheet. So that's what this one is. So it's kind of the minty snowflake on the back, and then your 2x2s are all these little things. So you're going to cut those out. You'll have a total of 12 from that sheet. There. And then from your Pinecone and Blizzard, which is a solid piece that we've used previously, it's brownish on one side and minty on the other, you're going to cut another 10 2x2s from that paper. Now we are going to take our time to ink the edges here. My phone keeps timing out on me. And I'm using, when I lay it down, I'm using kind of the brownish side, not the minty green, but you can decide what you would like to use. And let's just ink all our little elements. Now you're going to get 12 of these 2x2s, and you can decide which ones you're going to use. I didn't use them all. That's why I have a few off to the side, but these are the ones that I chose to use. So I had them in a separate pile. What's your process, Judy, for scrapbooking? Like, I remember when I first started scrapbooking, I used to do block scrapbooking, and it used to be close to my heart. That's kind of how I got into this paper craft many, many, many years ago, was through home parties of close to my heart. So it was a lot of scrapbooking then, and it was all scrapbooking. My kids at that time were already 9 or 10, so I had lots of catching up to do. I didn't get into the cards and anything else until quite a few years after. I stuck pretty much to the scrapbooking, and I still love it. I just don't get the pictures that I once did, right? My kids are 30. Until if they ever have grandbabies, then I still do like mini albums for Christmas. So I have a mini album for each Christmas. But yeah, and I don't like not putting pictures on, because then I just don't use them. So I'm just inking up all my edges. And again, I'm using walnut stain. You don't have to ink. But this paper to me just screamed ink. Just a little bit. Just to take that white edge off. And this one would have been a terrific one once we lay it down. And I might later take the sewing machine and do some sewing in between these little squares. And if I did, I'd use white thread. Okay, so this is kind of the trickiest part for me, is trying to get them somewhat even. So I think what I'm going to do is, okay, I'm going to put these kind of in order of how I want to use them on my panel. And I have a picture here, that's what I'm looking at, because I pre-laid this out so that I wouldn't be sitting here for hours trying to decide which one to do. So there's that next one. So there's this one, that one of those, this one of those, the deer, that one, oh yeah, I'm using this instead of one of the squares. When I seen it in the ephemera kit, I just liked it. So there's that one, and then there's that one, and then there's that one, another one, and then this one, this one, this one, and this one. So I can either go one of two ways. I can start from the top and work my way down, or from the bottom work my way up. And either way, it's fine. So I think what I'm going to do, because I have them all flat like this, I'm going to start from the bottom and work my way up. And that's just going to be laying down. And what's nice about this dotted paper is it does give you the ability to look at the lines and cheat a little bit to keep you straight. So that was my other reasoning for putting the dotted lines down. Now you can certainly pop up some of these squares. What I'm going to pop up is some of the elements that we're going to put on the top. And I'm going to pop up my picture. And if I don't come out totally straight, I'm not going to throw a hissy fit. Sometimes you just have to go with it. Everybody's with me? Now I'm not putting any here because that's where my photo is going to go. So for right now, I'm just going to pretend that this is a photo. so that I can get my markings on there right. There's nothing wrong with putting, like, if it's easier for you just to do up the whole side of the page, there's nothing wrong with that. However, you might be wasting a little bit more than you have to. And I think I'm going to come down to about there. And now I can take this out of there because I have my first one down. And I am kind of keeping with the little dotted lines. I just love the combination of navy and hunter green. And for this one here, you're going to have to decide which one you like the best. I kind of like the flower at the top, so that's what I'm going to do. But you can put the pine cone at the top if you'd like. And this is our piece of ephemera, so that's a piece of ephemera out of one of the packs. So I'm going to use that instead of the square, and for really no reason other than just to break it up a little bit. It's almost the same size, so I thought that was nice to have that in there. And I'm going about almost 2 lines. This deer is sweet. The paper is just gorgeous. How do you think it's coming out so far? Like, I really do like this. It's a little bit finicky. It's a little bit of prep work, but I do enjoy seeing all the different kinds of pattern paper. Well, I'm glad I'm going to be able to do a lot more scrapbooking with you because we have the calendar class, and I'm hoping to do more scrapbooking this year in general. I still love doing the cards, and I'll always do cards. That's why when we use lines like this, then we're going to use them up in cards. Now, if you're a die-hard scrapbooker, you absolutely can make more pages, right? You don't have to do cards, but I like both. Now, I ended up not having as much of the blue polka dot showing on the top as what I do the bottom, but I'm okay with that. And here we are. Phew! So that's that part done. And I can't remember what I was going to do with this part. So for this one here, this is the journaling elements, and it's lovely winter top 5. Just make sure that you watch where you cut, because that page, I love it. That page is really a nice page. So I included the lovely and then all of these here, and that's going to be my element on the side. So I am going to do a little fussy cutting just to trim out around this a little bit better. And to trim out these little corners. And I can't remember what I had this piece out for. So we cut out the 2x2s from the 2x2 and 4x4 elements sheet. We cut 10 2x2s from the Pine Cone and Blizzard sheet. We cut this one, Frosted Memories. I just have here that it was left over, and I just must have put it into this pocket in case we needed it or wanted it. These flowers are pretty to fussy cut. I'm not going to do that though here in front of you, but I'm just going to put that aside for now. So I'm going to get my pictures, and I'm going to cut out my 1.5 by 1.5. So I'm going to cut these out first. I have a PictureMate 400, and I absolutely love it. I've had it for a number of years now. It was a recommendation of Vicki Boutin, if anybody follows her, and I love it. So I print my own pictures at home. I went on and stole, I asked permission from my 2 nieces to see if they'd share some of their kids' photos, and they did. So I was just able to print them from Facebook. So I'm going to look at this little photo and figure out what do I want to keep in the 1.5 by 1.5. So I know I can cut a big chunk of the snow off. So yeah, so like one of the options to print on is these little miniature photos. I can get 4 on a 4x6 sheet. I'm going to cut a little bit more off the blue. That's the only thing, is like you have to play around with it when you're trimming your photos. Now if you have a 1.5 by 1.5 square punch, you might be able to go in much easier and choose your part of your photo and print it off. So now I'm going to cut this one down. You start it with the original Home Parties 2 in the monthly, Close to My Heart group. Mini albums, folios, 12 by 12s. But need to get way more photos onto a page. Yeah, so you make it work. And you can certainly do that. That's what's nice about the what used to be called block scrapbooking, is it was designed for lots of photos, but the paper wasn't near as nice, if I have to say, like Close to My Heart. Their stamps and their inks were great quality. Paper, not so much. Not when I got used to using other designer paper. The paper was really thin. I'm just going to cut part of this one off, and then part of this one. And these are tiny photos, right? But they were done so far away from the camera that you can only see them in tiny bunches anyway. Now you could do less blocks and larger so that you could get a whole lot more photos, because I'm going to be covering up a lot of my blocks with embellishments. So like if you did fewer blocks and had them larger, then you could very well get a lot more photos. So there's going to be a photo there, one here, one here, and one down here. So I'm just going to glue these down. You just have to make more pages, Judy. I mean, this kit, you could pound out a lot of pages from this kit. But I like how this is looking. It's so cute. And I do have all my albums on one rack, and they're in our living room. My mini albums are on a shelf in our bedroom, but those are like more occasions, like Christmas and things like that. So I really don't have the room to make, I think I have enough room to complete the album I'm on, and then one more album. Now the picture for my 4x6 is actually this one. And the spot is meant for a picture to go this way, but this is the mom with the two kids, and I want it to go this way, so I'm okay with that. I'm just going to change up a little bit. So remember I said I had extra, so I know the picture has to kind of go here if I'm going to do it this way. Now I can make this a little smaller. I can take some of the bottom off because I don't want to really cover up the burr if I don't have to. So I can make it a little bit smaller than so I can still see. I'm okay if I cover up that flower and pine cone, but I like the burr to show. So I am going to pop up this. I'm going to look down for some more scraps of chipboard. I have a little bin right beside me, so you don't need a piece as large as your picture. Oh, you're going to purchase Picture Mate 400? I do like it. Yeah. I mean the finish, the work by adding, I gotcha. You got to get your photos in your albums. Yes. Absolutely. And that's one of my biggest fears. My kids will be all right because, you know, we took lots of photos. I scrapbooked them. The photos that aren't scrapbooked are in chronological order in an album. But we're living in such a digital world. When my kids have kids, or like my nieces and nephews, I doubted if they have ever printed out their pictures other than, like, you know, your family photos that you get done once a year. So like they're all on their cameras, they're all on a cloud somewhere, and as people pass away and passwords get lost, you're going to lose access to that stuff. I even looked at, because we have lots of VHS tapes, and I looked at the process of sending them away and getting them digitalized. But the one place I looked in, even they stored on a cloud, and then you have to pay access fee to access your pictures, and I really don't want anybody else having my pictures. So I'm a little bit betwixt and between as to how I'm going to solve that. Yes, you do prefer plenty of photos to page, especially if you're trying to catch up. So let me see which one I want to put. Oh, I don't need to put any more over here because this is where our tag is going. So my tag is going to go over like this on an angle, and I don't need to pop that up. And just based on these photos, I can journal in what I think are the top 5 fun things to do for winter for this family. So I'm going to put it on the side, just like that. We're getting there, so now we're down to our ephemera. And just like the other one, I'm going to figure out where to put the ephemera. This one goes like that. I think I am going to cut this one out. I'm going to just cut around this blue, so like cut the ferny part off. We only have one page after this. Thanks for sticking it out with me, but if you have to go, I totally understand. I try to keep our classes to an hour, but I always seem to go over. I hope you don't mind. Throw that over there. And ink around this one. Now this week when I get ready for our card class, I'll kind of put a post up too and show you ephemera and that sort of stuff. Actually, I think I'm going to cut right down to the gray. Because I actually want to pop this up over here, up in this corner. And there is loads of titles. At the time when I was picking out titles, I didn't know what kind of pictures I'd have, so I didn't pick out a specific title for this page. However, you can use this as a title. Lovely Winter can be your title. But I can also go in and look at what we have left and add it. So I'm gonna ink my edges here. A little foam tape. Oh, I just noticed what I did. I almost covered up my bottom photo. Which I don't want to do. Now I'm going to come up a little bit further and have it come out this way. And if I had to use foam tape on that, I would not have gotten that off. But yeah, I didn't want to cover up my little photo. Now for these ones, they're going to be popped up and on top of, like maybe right here, burr, although there's burr there. Cute. Cute will definitely go up here. So like the ephemera that you pick up might be a little bit different than what I'm using, just depends on your pictures. So be mindful of that, but these words would work with anything. The creators of these packages they know what they're doing because they choose words that would work regardless of your photos. Like you could have something called cute, just a picture of a pet, tree, anything. And I'm going to put this one right up there. Cute. And then we have Brr. It's comfy and cozy. Much fun. I'm thinking that that was supposed to be my title. Brr, it's snow, much fun. Because there's this block here with snow days. And I'm thinking that was my intention. So I'm going to rough cut it. And then I'm just going to do a little fussy cut around the word. Some of the titles are really large. When's the calendar class? I didn't post the one for February yet. I try to do classes during the weekdays, like in the evening, and I just can't do it. I am like done like dinner after I'm done work, and I just can't focus to do a class on weekday nights unless I was off, but I work pretty much Monday to Friday. So it's either going to be on a Saturday or Sunday. That's kind of where all my classes land. Brr, it's snow, much fun. Maybe I can put that right down here. Yeah, so it will be in February. We did our January one. And I try to do it like at the beginning of the months. For it's snow. Where did I do? Oh, there it is. So that one I have to take little poppy dots. Do you guys have a preference for Sundays or Saturdays? I've been trying to mix it up just in case there was one better than the other. And then the much fun, I'm just going to put down Sundays, Deborah. So, you know, they say titles, but titles doesn't have to go up on top all the time. You can put a title anywhere in your page. And this is Remember This. And this one's like has loads of dimension as well because all of our embellishments I've popped up. So remember this. I think I'm going to put just like that. That photo with the blue sky. And then we have some stars. And my group's of 3, but we have a star down here. So I picked out just 2 more to pop up on the page. There are more stars in your embellishments, but I knew I had this one. So I saved the last star or 2 that's in the packages in case I want it for something else. But yeah, you could totally have fun with the sewing machine. And instead of adhering these down, you could sew them down. There's so much you can do. But sewing is one more step for sure. And it's a star, star. Maybe a star here. And then we have some 3 snowflakes. a little heart. And then this page will be done. I like it. I like this page. Very cute. I don't know if you guys can see the face on my, so this would be my great niece. But she does not look too thrilled. Oh, she's cute. I did have the third star out in case I had to cover this one, but I didn't have to, so I'm not going to use it. Sunday's Linda and Deborah. Yep. Well, I'll definitely keep that in mind. And is it your habit to mostly watch and then do at a later time? It just kind of tells me a little bit for prepping. Like, you know, it tells me that it's okay if I cut everything up ahead of time and just have which papers. Well, thanks, Deborah. And this is one little heart, and there's loads of hearts in this line too. Hearts, snowflakes, and I'm going to put that one right down here. So this is page number 2. And there are lots of dimensions. Everything went down flat, but then all my embellishments popped up. I like it. And I always put the dates. Oh, thank you, Deborah. So I always make sure that I put the date. Like, so I'll just put, this was probably in December of 24. Now let's get to our last one. So because I wanted to have it like as a double page if you so choose, then I did use the same base page. So this is that green, hunter green. And I'm just gonna, I don't think I took a photo of this one, so I might have to wing the whole thing. And hopefully it will come back to me with pictures, because I've done these a time ago. Okay, I think that's the same one. Yep. Okay. So I'm going to take out all my bits and my instructions. Autism, you're very slow. Well, that's good. That's good to know. It's not good that you're slow, but it's good that you can go at your own pace. I'm a watcher too. If not, then I'm pausing and I'm falling behind anyway, which is all right. That's what's nice about the Facebook Lives, is they record everything except when it doesn't. On poor Heather the other night, it didn't record her show. Sometimes that happens. And if that ever happened, I'd get back on live, and the best I could do is go over the instructions again and tell you which measurements. So before I throw out anything, I'd always make sure that it got posted first. And then I know Dan, I'm not sure how up to date he is, but he does pull the videos and he puts them on their YouTube, as well as I do the same on my YouTube channel for Attic Inspired Crafter. I'm a little bit behind as well. It just takes some time to do. So we got this. These are papers that I'll tell you what to cut. Same as here. Some more snowflakes. So this is that same paper. That was what we had left over of that sheet that I used to cut this. And this was supposed to be my photo, but I have a photo. And we have the hot cocoa mug. And then these ephemeras, I absolutely love them. So these are actually going to hold some of our pictures. And you'll have room on this one to actually lay 3 pictures down if you want. I'm going to be doing 2, but you could lay 3. And these are from the ephemera pack, so I'm going to put them over there. And this is one of the tags. So out of that whole sheet of tags, this is the only one that I'm going to be using on the layouts, but we'll be incorporating some of the others in our cards. So it says Winter Wonderland, and it has this on the front. So I am going to trim off these edges right now. And I'm going to grab my hole punch. Punch my hole. And I'll grab a piece of string as well. So I always have a spool of the, what I call old-fashioned twine handy. And that is my go-to for tags. So for this one, we have this piece here. It has the pine cones, little flowers on the back, in this brown plaid. And it is called Snug and Warm. And I'm just making sure, but this is a piece that is 6 inches by 9. You watch and then you do. Perfect. Just please come back onto the post and let me know how you liked it in real life. Because I always like your feedback, and like I said, if there's things that you would like to see more of, let me know, because then that drives the direction for the next class. And really no rhyme or reason as to where I'm laying this down. I don't want it right center, so if this will sit into my album as a double page. So if I'm going to have that there, maybe around here somewhere. And I'm just lining it up with on my glass mat. I don't have much of a straight eye, I tell you that. It's terrible. That doesn't look too bad though. I'm trying to keep my phone open because I do have a picture of how I initially laid this one down. And then we have 3 pieces of that same Chasing Snowflakes. So we have a piece that's 1 inch by 9. And then we have 2 that are 3 by 2. And I'm just going to ink up the edges of them. Again, you could take your sewing machine. Does any of you sew on your pages? That's one thing I did for the calendar class, is I used black as my base, and I did sew around all of the black pieces. And you'll see that. Well, you would have seen it in the January one, and then for every month it'll be the same. Like I'll have that black sewn, and I did them all at the same time. And you never know, I might go back and do some sewing on this because it's just feeling like it needs it. And then I'm just going to put a strip down here, and you could use either side, but I wanted to draw in some of that same pattern paper that we put on our opposite page. So that's why I'm using the dots. And I love dots anyway. It's just something very balancing about them. And then not wanting to use too many tools, you can totally go in and round your corners on these little pieces, but again, I didn't want to bring in too many tools, but you can go in and around them. And I'm just tucking it up to about 3/4 of an inch. And I'm going to do the same on the upper part. But I'm going to do opposite sides, so I'm actually going to put it up on this side. I just stand up a little bit. Sorry if my head's in the way. Trying to use my dots as my line. And then we have two pieces. It's leftover piece from the Journaling Elements. And I cut two, well actually I cut, it was a 3 by 5 3/4, and then I cut it in two pieces. So each piece is 1.5 by 5 3/4. So it's left over. If you cut your paper the same as what I showed you, then you will have a piece that's left over. And you can just cut that right off. And we're going to ink up this. Again, you could round the corners. You can tear your corners, like ripped paper is very attractive, especially when you're doing inky. But I'm telling you, there's like sometimes I'll do different things to paper if it's just not as beautiful as I would like it. But this paper's so darn gorgeous. There's really not, I don't want to do too much to it. So this one I'm going to put right on the top. You just have to make sure that your spelling, your words are going in the right direction. And then this one. So I'm just creating balance where I'm taking in some of the same elements as the other page and using the same paper, but just positioning them a little bit different. And this one I'm just going to line it right up with that. And that's kind of our base. So now we get to work on where we're going to place our pictures. So basically, these are going to frame my pictures for me. So I'm going to put one down here and one up here. You could absolutely put another large photo here and another large photo down here. But I'm just going to take advantage of this real estate, and then I'm going to use embellishments. So you can use less embellishments and then more photos. Yeah, so the PictureMate 400, it will take paper 5 by 7, photo paper as well. And I don't have an iPhone, but I know, like I said, if you go on Vicky's site, she's done many tutorials on using it, but she has an iPhone. And I never ever got into the fancy way that you can like make mini photos. I just kind of learned how to use it, and I use the grid within the app itself with the Epson app, and I really do like it. And the pictures to me come out quite nice. Now every now and again, if I download it from Facebook, it comes out a little grainy, but it is what it is. So these are the photos I'm using. Yes, they're pink. They have some pink into them. I did them in black and white. I think I might have to use the black and white. I think the pink is just too striking, but I thought maybe the blue would take away. Yeah, maybe I'll keep them in color. Just because it's going to be a side-by-side. So this guy, this is his twin, so this is our nephew, and the girl in the other photo with her 2 kids would be his sister, who's our niece. So it was cool, and I put a reach out to my other nephew to say, hey, get any pictures, but he didn't respond in time. But if he does send me some, I'll be sure to use them for our next round. Now, if you are someone that is really good with an X-Acto knife, you could go in and cut around this little snowflake and actually fit your photo so that the snowflake is sitting on top. I've done that before, but I am not a fan of fussy cutting that delicate. So I'm just going to put the picture on top, and then I will add some little embellishments. And on this one there's a spot for a date, which is, I love that. So the picture will kind of come off a little bit, and that's okay. Or we could actually trim this photo down so that it fits right inside there, which I kind of like the idea. So I'm going to take off my borders. Black and white looks good. You like the black and white? I like the black and white too. But it's just that it's going to be sitting beside the other page that's in color. And the little girl on the other page has some pink on her, so I think it will be okay. So we're going to glue this picture down. And then this one's going to go over here, and I don't have to trim that one up at all. I might take a little bit of that white off. And I'm going to pop both of those elements up. I'll keep the black and whites. You never know. I might have to use them for something else. Black and white photos are so nice though. And this is Today's Adventure. Again, with this little clip. Now that one wouldn't be too bad. You could go in and trim around it and have the clip on the top of the photo. If I had thought of that before today, I probably would have went in and did that. But I'm not going to make you guys go through the pains of watching me do that, because it would be painful. So I'm going to find a couple of more pieces of chipboard. Just keep my chipboard pieces in a little pocket beside me, and I use them for stuff like this. Like this is a nice sturdy piece. And like I said, you don't need like one covering the whole thing, but as long as you have a piece, that works. My gosh, I didn't think the class would take me this long. I'm sorry, guys. And that's with everything pre-cut. I don't know what I was thinking. I might have to cut myself down to a single page. Holy jumpins'. No, I think we could easily do a double page. I say that. A double page in an hour, maybe? If I wasn't doing so much dimension, maybe. But I got to do it because that's kind of what I love. Yeah, so you can never go wrong. Like, you know, for scrapbooking, if you like the layered look especially, just look at your pages and decide what's going to be your base. And then decide which pages you really don't want to cut up because you want to use them, like you want to fussy cut them and use them as elements. And then the ones that are left, well, just go to town and cut them up, especially if you're doing double page layouts. And make sure you have a bit of the same patterns on both sides. And then just layer. And, you know, with the lines that come with so much ephemera, or if you're cutting the ephemera from the patterns themselves, then that gets popped up. And it's awesome. Oh, thank you, Deborah. It's very kind of you to say. It's just fun. It's very fun. So there we go. So now what do we have left? We have our tag. Just gonna see. Now you could leave this for journaling, or like, you know, if you have a story to tell about this. But for me, there's a space here for date. Today's adventures is already there, so I really don't need it for journaling. So what I'm going to use it, I'm going to use it as a base, and we're going to make a little cluster. So I wrap that, and then I take my tiny attacher, and I'm going to so a cluster is just that. It's using a combination of items. But I want to put my title down first. Winter Fun. That was a perfect title for this page. And I think I'm going to put it over here. Winter Fun. So let me do a little, like I said, there's loads of titles in your sentiment package. And we're going to pop the winter. Well, actually, I'm going to pop the fun. So we're going to put the winter down straight. Winter down straight, and then the fun. We'll pop it up. Just a little bit over here. Darren, I'm still doing class. I have to remind them. I think he thinks I'm just talking to myself after a bit. And Winter Fun. There. And let's see what we're going to, so we're going to make a cluster. So a cluster is taking a bunch of pieces of ephemera and popping them up on itself. And I'll often do this when I'm making cards. So if I have a bunch of ephemera left over, I'll make clusters. And it's really fun when you bring in even older elements like pieces of cloth or pieces of like lace or doilies, like other things. You can make lots of clusters. So I think I'm going to ink this fella up. And I'm going to just put him flat because I'm going to pop up some other elements. I'm going to put the cup and then the hot cocoa. I'm going to pop that one up, and I don't have to put pop dots on the whole thing because it's only the small section that's actually going to be stuck up. So hot cocoa, and I'm putting it kind of through the heart. And you can still see the heart. And then we have this little piece, and you can add it here to make one big cluster, but because I want to add more things down here, I'm going to put this cluster. I think I will put him here. And I'm not going to pop it up because the hot cocoa's popped up. So I'm just going to stick him down. Hot cocoa, and there's my ribbon. Now I think I could even put more embellishments on this page than what I kept out. So I might go back in and dip in again later. But we have this one, which I'm not sure where I want to put it. I kind of like it there. It just adds on to that. I think I will put it there. And ink around. Yeah, making clusters are really fun. And I used to do it more than what I do it now, because one time you'd be very limited as to how much ephemera you got in a package. And if you were doing like a bunch of pages with your kit, then you'd run out of ephemera. So it was a way to make it stretch, but now it's like, holy jumpins. They give you so much ephemera, but it's a great way to make card fronts if you have nothing left but ephemera. And I have 3 more snowflakes. Now we have 3 up here, so I'm going to draw those snowflakes down across my page this way. There, so we need 3. I don't have the little ones left, so I'm just going to cut. Maybe these big ones will work. There. I am rushing a little bit just because I feel bad for keeping you past this late. I didn't think it would take me this long, so you'll have to forgive me. There. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 snowflakes. I like having odd numbers, but I'm not going to go digging for another snowflake right now. Another little heart. Oh, and they did give lots of hearts in the kits. So I'm going to put that one down here. And a banner left. So, what are we going to do with this banner? I think I'm going to do like I did before and cut it. It's not right into, but it's cut. And take my tiny attacher. I don't know why, but I always kind of put two and then I cross them. And I am going to get a pop dot, pop square, pop hexagon, whatever you have that will pop. And where do I want to put that? I think I'm going to put it right there. And that is our final page. So let me see if I can get a look of them together. So if this is laying in your scrapbook together, it does look pretty nice. I can't get it all in frame, but like you have this page that's really busy, and then the opposite page, it's not as busy, but it still has lots of elements to look on. And I do like that I left them in color because there's lots of blue on both pictures, and there is a little bit of pink and red. So it's drawn in those colors. So that one and that one, I'll get pictures of them tomorrow in light and post them. And then, of course, our first page, which is my favorite, if I have to pick a favorite, just because the paper itself was so nice. And man, they got some weight to them because of all the popped elements. So thank you so much for joining me today. It was absolutely fun. You love all the inspiration, Deborah. That's great. I just want to show you a couple of the cards. I posted them, but it's always nice to see them in real life. So I was playing around with, oh, thanks, Shelly. You're more than welcome. You guys inspire me. So All in Create, they have that tape that's called Layer It Up, and I had about 8-9 rolls of it. So one day I did nothing but layer it up and watch movies. So now I have all these card fronts with those layer it up images. And for this one here, it was a mosaic. So it was like just these planks. So I thought, what can I do with that? I still have some card fronts that are just the planks, but some of them I took some circle dies that I had and just cut some circles out in various shapes, stacked them up. I did some inking on the background first, and then I went through my stash to see what kind of dies I had that were just different. So this one was an old bicycle, and I cut out it several times and then used a foil for the top. So that one was created. And then the blue mosaic, did the same kind of thing, but I had a camera die and some film. So I made one with the camera. Happy birthdays. And they are very nice, Shelly. They're turned out much better than what I thought in my head. So it's always fun, hey? Just getting in there, and you don't think you're having a really creative day, but if you do nothing but just cut panels, then they sit there for the next time that you have something creative, and you have it done. So now I have all kinds of panels of those layered up tape. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go to All in Create and just have a search layer it up, or layer me up. It's layer something up. And it's very fun. So I thought I'd share that as that was on my desk. You guys have a wonderful rest of your weekend, and I'll probably see you at the auction tomorrow night. Have fun.